Whether you're watching, listening or reading this, welcome back to the Runpreneur vlog, where we're on a mission to raise £1 million for children's charities by run vlogging on consecutive days the distance of one lap around the world. It is a staggering 40,075 kilometres. It's going to take somewhere in the region of 11 years to accomplish, so plenty of time to raise that money. I'm going to commit to running a minimum of 5 kilometres every single day whilst vlogging, and I'll even do it barefoot style. So for those regulars will know when I vlog about my passions, which is entrepreneurship and running, and most importantly how these topics link together to help people overcome the emotions of stress, overwhelm and anxiety by using exercise as a release mechanism. Now it's a beautiful day today. The sun is shining, a lot of breeze, really hot, it's in its 20s, so really hot running conditions, but much better than when it rains or it's windy, so I can't complain. And it is Wednesday Wellbeing today, where we discuss all things mindset, mental health and well-being. So and today's topic is how to deal with negative energy. So as always, please support this challenge by giving it a subscribe and like, and if you can share the content as well, all the better. And let's get started. So, dealing with negative energy or negative emotions. Now, those of you in the entrepreneurial space will know that life as an entrepreneur is an absolute roller coaster. You get massive highs and you also get massive lows. And it's how we deal with these which can often dictate how we progress as individuals. Some people I've got to try and get past here, so let me try and get past these people before we continue, so just bear with me a second. So it's how we deal with these negative emotions which can often dictate how we progress as individuals. And the reason I thought today's episode was quite poignant and quite relevant is because I'm actually going through this exact process at the moment. I mean, a few months back, my trading business, Property Empire Investments, was firing on all cylinders. I think we had a 50 grand month in terms of revenue. It was all going swimmingly well. Roll on to where we are today. We've had a fallout between two of the partners. One partner has vacated and left, which has caused a load of issues that need to be resolved. The two partners that had fallen out, the second one is now wanting to step down due to the stress and the pressure and stuff that's gone on. And we could just sit here and just go, oh my word, the world is falling apart. It's getting to a stage where I don't know what to do about this. Or we can look at it from a different way. So the way I've always dealt with negative energy, and I've never been great at this, it's only through recent times I've actually learnt to deal with this more effectively. Just get past these people as well, so just bear with me a second. Thank you. I'm running around some country paths around rivers today, which is lovely. So how I now deal with these scenarios, okay, of extreme negativity is, well, firstly, so many successful entrepreneurs talk about this. And so the two things you need to cull within your team or infrastructure, because it grows and evolves and causes all sorts of issues. The first one is loyalty, trust, integrity. Okay, I've combined 3 words that mean very similar things to me. I know there are differences, but I combine them together. So those 3 things are first and foremost extremely important. And the next one is negative energy. If you get a lack of loyalty, trust and integrity, then that's only going to grow, that lack of trust, and it's only going to cause issues further down the line. So if there's a genuine reason why you don't trust somebody, it's often a telltale sign that you perhaps shouldn't be working with them or surrounding yourself with them. Okay, so that's point 1. Right, I've just veered off in the wrong direction here. So I'm just going to go back here and see if I can correct my path, unless it is too... So anyway, sorry about that. And the second one is negative energy. So if somebody is in your team or you're working with them and they've just got a negative attitude or negative perspective on things in general, it's going to drag everybody down, and that negative energy is draining and it pulls everybody down to that level, and it's horrible experience to deal with. Now, I've experienced in both of these situations very recently. You know, just looking at which way I'm going left here. So firstly, there was the partner that left. Okay, there was a lack of trust really on both sides, I think. I thought it was going to break up amicably, and I still hope that we can separate on an amicable basis, but clearly there's things that have been not resonating, but stewing with individuals that have come to the forefront, which is questioning the trust once again. The trust was clearly an issue on this instance. So that's kind of rearing its ugly head at the moment. We're having to deal with that as we go. So trust is a big one. And also this individual, because there was a lack of trust, they perhaps were more negative in their approach to the business. And that negativity grows and grows and grows. And then it starts becoming draining and it starts affecting performance. The second partner, who's now going to be standing down, who had a falling out with this other individual who's left. Okay, and that fallout just creates a huge amount of negative emotion. Now, the second partner, the trust was never an issue, but they were somebody who would always look at the glass was half empty rather than half full, and there was always that negative element that was attached to them, and it was quite hard at times. I mean, some days it was great, and you found that you could bring them back up to the positive world, but then the next day it would be the same thing again, and it just gets tiring having to work with such degrees of negativity. So, but ultimately, so I've dealt with both of these situations, and it's been highly disruptive. So when I go back to how I deal with negative energy now, is there's two things that you can kind of do here, and this is what I generally focus on. Is number one is, if you can't control it and you're going through a period of severe negative energy, don't worry about it. Easier said than done, but the second part of this will hopefully help understand how you can kind of manage this, in that if you can't control it, just work out what worst case scenario looks like. Okay, once you understand what worst case scenario looks like, have a contingency plan in place to deal with it. No matter how bad it is if you've got a contingency plan, there's going to be a feeling of, you know what, even if the worst thing happens, I've got a way to deal with this. Okay, you do get situations where contingency plans look incredibly hard to kind of create based on the severity of the situation, but it's very, very, very seldom that you won't be able to find a contingency of some kind. Okay, extremely, extremely rare. Just going past some people, so just bear with me a second. Oh yeah. So I think it's really, really important that you understand that there is always a solution, or in so many instances, there is more often than not, there's always a solution that you can find. It might not come to you immediately, but I think that over the course of time, you can definitely find that solution, and that's really, really important. Just going past some people again. Oh yeah. Hello. So that's how I've dealt with it, and since understanding those things, I've got some meetings this week to kind of deal with the aftermath again, having thought that I dealt with it already. And I know what worst case scenario looks like now. I know what it looks like. I'm just working out, I think I'll go left here. So I know what it looks like, and it's not pretty, it's pretty grim, but you know what, I have a genuine plan of how to deal with it, and that's really, really important that you kind of understand that. And I think when you've got a plan, you always feel more in control. Going past some people again. So I think that's really, really important, and that's enabled me to feel much better about the situation and pull myself out of this state of negativity. Oh yeah, it's busy here today by the river. So yeah, so that's kind of how I'm dealing with it, and we always talk about the impact of these negative issues that arise from people, and quite often people say that people equal problems, and more often than not that can be the case. However, if you want to grow and scale a successful business, people are one of the three key pillars to grow a successful and scalable business. The other two being systems and processes, people and data. So people will always play a big part, and it's how you manage them and how you set your team up which can go a long, long way. So the rule I have now, if there's anybody who's showing a sense of negative energy, if there's anybody who's showing a lack of trust, loyalty or integrity, then I try and remove them from the business in as cleanest way as possible. And I think it's always, you have to trust your gut, and if you feel that way, it's unlikely that your gut is going to turn itself around. And sometimes you might be wrong, but you know what? You've removed that situation from potentially evolving to something like a fairly catastrophic partnership separation, which is horrible to deal with. And I've dealt with my fair share of these over the years, so I've become more well versed at dealing with them. But that doesn't make them any easier. It just means that I've learned how to cope, and I've learned how to manage this situation more effectively. And I certainly do that by those two things. If I can't control the outcome of something, I'm not going to worry about it. But what I will do is I'll think about what worst case scenario is, and I'll put some form of contingency plan or proposed solution in place ready to go should the worst case happen. And quite often worst case doesn't happen, and you can normally find a happy medium in the middle somewhere. But if you're prepared for worst case, then you're protecting yourself against another spurt of negative energy of something. If you're expecting to find a resolution you don't, then that can create a second wave of negativity, which is really difficult to recover from. So hopefully that's useful, and hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully that will help people that are going through these things. So if I was going to summarise this, remember the two things. Well, firstly, think about the people you're working with. If they're showing signs of negativity, or they're showing signs of a lack of trustworthiness, then try and remove them as quickly as possible, otherwise it will evolve into something bigger and more challenging. And second, if you've got a negative situation you need to deal with, then it's all about trying to find the best way to deal with that. And if you can't control it, don't worry about it. And secondly, have a contingency plan for the worst case scenario, and you'll just feel so much better in so many different ways. So that's pretty much it for me today. As always, if you've got any questions and stuff, drop me a comment. I'll respond to everyone. If there's a bigger topic, I'll do a separate vlog episode and tag you in. I'm now apparently off route, but we'll try and find a way back en route by just 1 second. Right, I'm going to turn back and try and get back en route because I'm going wrong. The joys of doing new routes whilst vlogging. So yeah, and what's left to say? Yeah, so if you are someone who struggles, well, when I talk about my content, I always talk about how it can help people overcome the emotions of stress, overwhelm and anxiety by using exercise. And in this example, I've given you the example of the stresses and pressures I'm coming through at the moment and how I'm dealing with them. Running vlog, to me, is extremely therapeutic. It really does help me deal with these situations. I'm just trying to work out where I go. I think I'm still going right. Help me deal with these situations so that I can control. This is my process for clearing my head of these daily negative emotions in the form of stress. How I'm clearing them before they get to overwhelm, which is enabling me to hopefully make the right decision and the right choice to drive my business forward. And everybody experiences these emotions on a daily and weekly basis, and it's often how we deal with them which is ultimately going to dictate how successful or unsuccessful we may become. And it's like pressure building in a pipe. If you don't release those daily pressures, weekly pressures in the form of stress, okay, by processing what's happened, gaining clarity, clearing your head and moving on, then those emotions are going to grow and grow and grow and turn into overwhelm. Once they're in overwhelm, you almost have too many things to think about. You almost have a seizure in your approach. You don't know which way to turn, and very, very quickly that can move further forward into panic and anxiety, which are then in the realms of flirting with the edge of mental health issues. And I've been there, okay? And in this analogy, the pressure bursts in the pipe. Okay, and when the pressure bursts, you have a mental breakdown. And I've not quite been to mental breakdown, but I've lost businesses over this, I've lost business partners, and I've almost been bankrupt because of it. And it's a horrendous place. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And that's why I started doing this vlog, to try and help people. As my pledge is, if you are struggling with any of this, okay, just drop me a message. Okay, the Runpreneur vlog It's not for profit, it's completely free. The value is always going to be free, the content is free, and the help is free. Okay, if you want to donate to the cause, amazing, but donations are not essential, okay? So the help will always be for free. So just drop me a message, we'll jump on a call and I'll give you a step-by-step guide on how we can get you back on the right path. And I know this stuff works because I've made more progress since doing this running vlog, which is my release mechanism, in the past 12 months than I have done in the previous 5 years. So hopefully there's enough social proof that this stuff really works. See which one I'm going straight over. And secondly, help is there. It's often free. You just have to be prepared to ask for it. And it's often easier asking strangers than nearest and dearest. So take it up if you need it. I've helped hundreds of people deal with exactly this over the years, so I'm well qualified to do so. And I always said if this vlog helps just one person, it's been 100% worthwhile. So that's it for me today. Hope this has been useful. Please do support the challenge as best you can, even if it is just supporting the content by subscribing and sharing and liking what we do. It gets us in front of more people. The more people we get in front of, the more donations we're going to raise. So thank you for your support, and I'll leave you with, as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you tomorrow.